Okay, so what are we going to do? This is an AMA. There was a form going out. I haven't gotten any updates on whether there were actual questions there. If there are questions that people have that are not submitted in the form, that's also free. I don't know either of them, so I haven't been able to prepare for any questions. I have to explain to you that I might not be able to answer all questions. Last week we decided to give full transparency on where we are. Because if we wait until we have all the questions answered, well, we'll just be leaving you with more insecurity during that time. And yeah, there's also budgetary need to transition to this new way of working. So we're preempting that, and we're starting a new way of working at the end of this month. So this is a little bit of a transition phase. And yeah, I'll try. There are some things we need to figure out, maybe also after that month, and we'll keep on learning and experimenting. And your input is, well, more important than ever, I would say. We'll take that very seriously also. So, yeah, I'm here to answer questions. I'm also here to listen. And Rafa, I think the same goes for Rafa. Rafa will be taking charge of the operational part of the organization as he has done in the past years. But now it's more like, well, let's say we'll restructure also that part of the organization a bit. So I will defer, Rafa, if that's okay with you, questions related to operations and processes around that as much as possible to you. Is that okay?
Is that okay? Yeah, yeah. Before we start, I would like to just give remember some things. Two things. First, guys, we disclosed that this transition period would take 4 weeks. So we are talking about the March 27th. Okay, it's the date that we stipulated for this transition to end, where we are going to become fully project with the full project approach. And also to remember you all that we requested you to create a list with the tasks that you operate nowadays, currently, that can become projects, right? You don't have to create a project for that. It's not the goal here. It's just for you to list, give some sense of spendings on it, for us to have this perspective, for you as well to know where you can go with these projects, what you can propose, and so on. Okay. Yeah, this is the two topics that I would like to talk before. But please go on, Jan.
I'm done. So I'm here to answer questions and to
Yeah.
listen to what you have to say. I would say yeah, it's a pivot, maybe the biggest pivot in some sense in our organization. I mean, having our own platform instead of Sway was a big one. Last year, we changed from a diversified hourly wage to a bonus system. That was an important one. But I think in and we have started with RFPs and all these things, but a lot of these things were a little bit more gradual. I think what we're seeing today is quite a significant pivot. So yeah, if there's anything I can do to inform you, to help you, to guide you, to advise you, and vice versa. I could also be on the receiving end of advice and help and support, etc. So if we can help each other going through this transitional phase, that would be great. And I'm open to that. At the same time, you know me, I can probably just talk through this next 1.5 hour. But let's be, um, yeah, cautious of our time. Let's keep it spot on. And if there are questions, then let's answer them. There's still this town hall planned tomorrow. Originally, I thought maybe we should have one of them. We now have this AMA and the town hall tomorrow. Maybe we'll see some changes on the agenda for tomorrow as well. There was a little bit of confusion back and forth.
I can talk a little bit
That
about that.
nobody.
Maybe
Sorry?
I can talk a little bit about that, maybe, and talking a little bit to everyone. What we're trying to do right now is to try to help you to the next steps and the next journey and give you the information you need. So one point is this AMA where you can come and ask questions. I know there's been a lot of questions in the community, so now is the time to raise your hand and ask them. We already have some questions in the form that we will ask, but we'll try to give priority to everyone who comes here, unmutes, and speaks. And then there is the other section where we're trying to do, which is to bring members, contributors, individuals, the team from SingularityNet to share a little bit more about their goals, what they're working on, the roadmap and everything, so we can better align our proposals and our initiatives with the roadmap of SingularityNet and their objectives for the next period. We'll see when we can make that happen. We'll try to see if it's possible on tomorrow's town hall or if it will be another event, but we'll try to keep you all postponed or on top of what's happening, let's say. And with that being said, if you don't mind, Jan and Rafael, I think we could open it to questions and let people raise their hands if they want to ask anything about the strategy, next steps, what we should be doing, etc.
Yeah, as long as there are questions, I'm here to answer them for the time assigned. If at some point we figure out there are no urgent questions, then we can just end the call. But yeah, depends on you. So shoot. Rafael, are there any questions submitted in the forum that you want to prioritize?
Hi, Jan. So I'll be taking that part. So far we have about 20 plus questions from the form.
Wow.
And some are same as others. So I'm just going to try as much as possible to merge as many as I can. Right.
Could we ask first if anyone wants to ask a question, Mariam, instead of going straight to the questions on the forum?
Okay, sure. Please, who has a live question? I think we could, do live, then do form questions as well.
Yeah, if you want to ask a question, please raise your hand or unmute. You have right now 5 seconds, or we'll move into the forum. So sad, no brief souls. Oh yeah, finally. Good, Rakosi. Please.
I wanted to ask and propose, is it possible that we start with the questions from the forum, and if those questions lead to other questions, if we feel that a specific aspect of the question wasn't answered, we can come in and then raise our hands and do it intermittently.
Sure. Sounds
All
good.
right, perfect. So let's start.
Okay, so I think this first one, I mentioned the first four for Raphael, for Pressa. So in no particular order, one, how would the proposals be submitted? In what format would this list of activities that you spoke about be submitted? Where would they be submitted? What information should they include? For example, budget breakdown, project timeline, milestones, personnel, roles, and the last part, and crucially, what is the decision-making process for such projects? Who decides, and what criteria would those decisions be based on? Did you get that?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, no, it's good question. I guess it's the main thing, right? So ultimately is SingularityNet's decision on which projects are going to go or not. Okay, we are building this process as we speak. It's going to be, and I'm not going to sugar it. It's going to be more centralized, the process. Okay, I really want to be very direct with you in that context. And for that, it's one of the whys we were having, and probably going to have John, EB, Haley in meetings, exactly for you also to grasp what SNET is, what their goals and what they are aiming for, in a way that you can calibrate your perspective in projects to what SNET indeed is interest. Okay, again, that's why we have this transition period. It's not only for you, it's also for us to put all the pieces in place and make it happen. Okay, don't answering, I guess, the first part here of the question, don't spend too much time in this list. Okay, what it is, perhaps a small description, like what you do when you put the task in the task system, right? The task, perhaps some sense of how much time it takes in hours, and then that's it. Okay, don't go there and make milestones, deliverables, success criteria, and etc. This is the next step. The first one is the idea. Let's put like this, which will go through the ideation portal. Okay, Vani?
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Just a point of information. When you're saying how many hours it'll take, I kind of had the impression that moving towards a more project-based thing meant we were moving away from hourly rates and thinking more about price per task or, price for the project, that kind of thing. Is that not so?
Sure. Yeah. When I mention it in hours, it's because it's what it's easier, I believe. So if you are going to make a project in social media, for instance, just an example here, you kind of know how many hours you spend already per week, per month, and so on, right? So it's to give a sense. But yeah, it's as good as possible to also put the total pricing for that. Don't need to break down this pricing, okay, in the task. Jan?
Yeah, the important ingredient here is that we are that you're not longer restricted to that static 10 hours, $10 per hour. So you could also say my time is worth $20 per hour, but I only need half of the hours. And yeah, I think it would be useful to have some transparency there. Like some people are very experienced and fast, and others need a little bit more time, but they accomplish something as well. But you're totally right. At the end, the project will be determined based on what you have to offer and the price, that the budget that is required for it, how you make that calculation. And I would say even that the amount of transparency that you put to that calculation is up to you. Up to you, and maybe in communication with the receiving party.
Yeah, it might happen that in this decision process, the decision makers disagree with something, but they like your proposal, right? So they will get back to you and say, hey, if you change this, it can be the price, it can be a milestone, a deliverable, or they can be willing to add something or exclude something. But again, guys, I don't spend too much, don't put too much effort in this. That's why I just mentioned it. Hey, hours, don't overthink on the thing, because it might not be approved, right? It's just to give us the full perspective. Rakosi? And I'm running here because it's 3 minutes per question less than.
Yes, just to confirm something. So, in the same logic, to avoid high waste efforts, right? Is it possible, or will SNET provide sort of like a red list of projects, project types or categories that will automatically be rejected so that we know? Is that
Not
something
now.
possible?
I don't think we are going to have this from the beginning. No. It's going to be more proactive from our side. Here's one thing in this project approach, and I've been trying to put this. It's a cultural shift. In the beginning, prior, the members were more passively going with things. Now it's on your lap, it's on your hands to make this happen. Okay, the success of an approval or the success of the project itself, it's going to be in your hands. So don't expect that much, for instance, a red list or a no-go list for having, so especially now, which it's in the beginning. But go for it if you believe. Again, we are going to be open and have this communication channel. Go to Hypercube in Mattermost, talk to people there, understand better the perspective of Fastnet. Go to all hands and podcasts that Ben is, for instance, or John or others, and then you can take your own conclusions on what's the best. Ian?
Yeah, just this very simple thing to add to that is, like it was the case before already, whatever we do needs to support either ASI chain or OpenCog Hyperon. So anything that would go beyond that, I think would have a very low chance of being awarded. However, that is still very wide range of things, right? It could be educational, it could be creating a community for these technologies, it could be building on these technologies, it could be raising attention. And I truly, honestly don't know which type of things will have the highest chance to get awarded. It depends a little bit on what SingularityNet ASI team wants to do themselves, what capabilities they have in-house, what their priorities are, and what needs to be outsourced. I do think that we shouldn't be too reactive, as Rafael says. If you have a compelling proposal, it might be something that would never have occurred to them. But once they read it and they see the budget related to it, they say, well, let's give it a try. So I would motivate you to submit things. And I think what Rafael and we are trying to do is to make the effort for submitting the first stage very low, which is why it's just an idea. So you're not putting days into a project that was a description that was doomed before it ever appeared. So that would be the ideal process.
Yeah, and by the way, Rakos, in the direction of what you asked, I'm working in parallel with a lot of things on a best practice manual, let's put it this way, okay, for this type of proposals. I won't be giving exactly what it should be, but how it raises your chance of being approved, your project to be approved, okay, to be delivered. Rafa.
Thank you. I have actually two questions related to what you said. One is for each one of you. One is for Jan. What about the rest of the tech stack, which would be like ASI, the computing side? We also have the ASI Create. Would those solutions also be of interest? Some kind of
I think they would also definitely. It's part of the tech stack. I think the main pillars. I mean, Hyperon itself, it's a very broad thing, right? And ASI chain needs infrastructure and things to build upon, so it's connected. ASI Create will be an important thing. Where if you follow the Mattermost channels, you will also see some other things emerging there. So I think that all has my impression is, I'm not the one making making those decisions. My impression is that all these things will have a good chance if they're properly supported.
And just the second question for Rafael, what is the timeline for us to be able to submit the ideas, Rafael? Do you have any timeline of when the platform will be ready, or not yet?
We are working in the ideation portal for receive this. So this morning we were talking about more fields in it for you to be able to jump there. However, I would appreciate again to have this list because it's simple, right? And you think, and then with the list that you created from your own tasks, you can, no, this one is interesting, or we can reach and say, this one, guys, go for it,
Okay.
because it has a, before we jump, but it's going to be there. It's in the transition period as well, this entrance door for ideas and proposals.
So when we have the list, what is the next step? That would then would be my question.
Yeah, then we are going to assess. Well, myself, I would love to get all these lists and go one by one and see
Okay.
what it can.
We could submit it to you directly or to Jan. Is that it?
Yeah. Please, guys, you can share in the All Circles channel. I would prefer than on a DM, tag me, but
All
of
circles.
course.
Okay.
Okay, it can go in a Google Doc, in a spreadsheet, the way you feel better and the way that makes easier for you. Okay.
All right. Thank you. Danny, please.
Yeah, just quickly, with our lists of things that we think could become projects, are we looking at things that would cover pretty much a quarter or a half year, or does it not matter? I'm just trying to get an idea of what kind of length of thing we're looking at.
This would be on you as well. If you feel that 3 months it's good enough for the project, and well, if I make this project for 1 week and I have to apply again, it doesn't make sense. It's a year. Well, the only thing is the project, right? So it has to have a beginning, middle, and end, right? So that's the thing. You decide what's the size of it.
All
Next
right,
one.
Mary, I think we can go to the next questions. Are you there still?
Yes, I am. Thank you, everyone. Okay, so moving on to the next question. It's quite lengthy, but the crux of it is that based on Jan and Raphael's presentation last week, you explained that initially, at least, the project will be defined by the foundation in a top-down way, and that there are a lot of details that still need to be worked out in relation to the more bottom-up project suggestions coming from the community. So the question is, so which is the Circle's submission of a project list referred to Beatrice's post in the internal newsletter? It doesn't appear to be related to the top-down work coming from the foundation, so it's unclear where it fits in. So if there could be clarification on that.
Not quite sure if I understand
I can
the
put the
circle
question.
submission flow, but
I can put the question in another way. The person is a bit confused because they feel they understood that the projects would be top down. So there would be Singularity Net saying which projects are available. And they are confused about the project list. Why should they do a project list, and what would be the process for that? If it's going to be top down, for them, it doesn't make sense to do that. I found that was the
no. Yeah, so I expect that 90% of the budget will be spent on projects that will be defined by Singularity Net. They will be saying, we need this, like we have RFPs today. But I think the RFPs will also come with a little bit of different character than we have seen until now from Singularity Net. Right now, the RFPs are very AGI, R&D targeted. And my expectation is that we'll also see RFPs that are marketing oriented, or RFPs that require some meteor level engineering work or something. So it will be a little bit more related to the type of tasks that Singularity Net would normally look for internally, and they might be outsourcing part of that work to the community through this top-down process. I haven't seen any of those yet. I've heard one person saying there are a few in the pipeline, and other one saying that they would very much like to submit. I think at some point we might see a lot of them coming. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a little bit of a transition phase there as well, which might be extended after April. So it may be that in the coming weeks we'll see 1 or 2 or 3, maybe also as a tryout. So if the first 3 projects that are coming to us will be sourced quickly and will be executed quickly with high quality, then the chances that there will be more of the same coming will be higher. And then take in mind that we might see different types of projects coming on. I can very well imagine at some point a request for some hackathon. There is this idea about developer hubs. There are ideas about educational initiatives and maybe the content creation. But yeah, these are just lines that I heard in a message or in a talk or whatever. I don't have anything concrete there, but and then it will follow its own dynamics, like demand and supply. If we can offer things with high quality and sufficient speed, yeah, then we make ourselves very attractive and we'll see more coming. Vani?
Yeah, I think I get where this question is coming from, though, if I heard it right. If you're saying, Jan, that probably about 90% of, the funding is going to be, stuff that is defined by the foundation, then us making project lists and sort of that feels like it's more from us to them making proposals. So it's just a bit
Yes.
unclear
Yeah.
how much budget is there in total for that, and like how does
Yeah.
it fit into that process?
So 90%, I don't know 90% of what exactly. I have created a budget proposal for that, but that has not been formally approved yet. So I would love to give full disclosure about all the finances that we are looking at. I hope we can actually do that in the following weeks, but yeah, that's not up to me. We need to have formal approval for that. I would argue that one way or another, either top down, bottom up, the way it stands, or Rafa and me have a smaller budget also for some things that we would like to have done in a more flexible way. It doesn't necessarily mean there will be less budget spent on the community members, all of you together this year than we did last year. I do think the total budget spent on open RFPs like the AGI RFPs and rounds and so on. I don't think in the coming 6 to 12 months we'll see another round for $1.5 million or something. So that will definitely be reduced. But yeah, at the same time, it comes with opportunities for different kind of RFPs for the community, and it comes with an opportunity to submit your own ideas. And yeah, I mean, if all your ideas are great, well, then it's up to SingularityNet to determine what to do with it. And then maybe that whole one, I think that bottom up bucket, you should see it as a kind of minimum. In the sense that is earmarked, so we have some budget there that should be used for applicable community projects. It might be that if all projects are not aligned with what SingularityNet want, none of it is approved, but then the budget will remain there. If the stream of good projects would exceed the budget that there is, then SingularityNet has the freedom to still reward those, right? So that's how I imagine that the dynamics of this will work.
Maybe I can ask you a question that I'm really curious about, which is what will happen. I'll give you an example to be more concrete, like the event circle. So we've developed tools, right? Like the community app portal or the Infobot or dashboard with metrics, etc. What will happen to that? Who will maintain it? Should we, if we are making a proposal, should we include the development, maintenance, further development or further maintenance of these tools in the proposal? Or is that part of deep funding, and will deep funding be working on
Yeah,
that?
I can get this one. I'm not sure if you guys remember from the presentation. We have these 3 layers, let's put this way, right? We have this outreach layer, which is more in the contact with the community and so on. We have a middle layer, which is operations layer, right? And we have the products products and platform layer. The maintenance, as what you are saying, Cardoso, is in operations, right? And operations will keep a very tight team in hourly base still, okay? We are talking about 7 people from what I have. I'm talking to some members on that, and we'll disclose later when we have this list closed. Okay, so the maintenance itself is here. What goes in the project is everything. For instance, the meetings that you have to, if you feel that you have to be paid for the meetings to complete that project, put there, and so on and so forth. Okay, so yeah. Answer it?
So that, yeah, I think so. So that means that, for example, I'll give in the community hub portal, we've developed some things, but there are some things we need to fix. That would still be taken care of for deep funding if the community hubs continue. Is that
Yeah, if it's a product, for instance, the dashboard, as you mentioned, the project has to have a handover to the operations layer that will take care, for instance, with IT. Okay, IT will be in charge of it and maintenance and keep the
okay? Just
support.
the only challenge is that some of, like, for example, for the community hub portal, they don't know what's needed to be functional, right? The operations part.
Who doesn't?
Well, they don't use it, right? We use the things, is us, events, is it's the
Yeah,
hubs, so they don't really know
yeah.
what we need, right? That's
But here, if you are proposing a project for a community hub, right, then you are going to be using it. So the
yeah.
tool itself, it's deep funding providing the tool for these projects to operate. We
Okay.
are facilitating. Okay. When I say maintenance, it's literally to, oh, it's out of service
As
and
a backup.
etc. Go there and not to.
And one other question is things like softwares that we use, like for example, this Zoom, will they remain in place or is it something that should be accounted for?
Yes, but for internal use, let's put this way. The project, if the project needs a Zoom account, it has to go in the budget of the project because it's a separated thing, okay?
Okay.
And other tooling.
Rakosi, please. Sorry.
Well, I think I got my answer. My question was similar to yours, but for tooling, I mean for a tool that is created as a result of as a deliverable of a project, right? For SNET. So we create a tool for SNET in a project. Once the tool is delivered, how does maintenance and support happen? But I'm guessing it will be a similar approach, something that will be discussed with the stakeholders when handover is happening. So I think I got my answer.
But this handover, for instance, goes also in the direction of that best practices and what it should have in a proposal and so on. Well, I call it Ideas Developer Kit, right? So IDK, and it's not, I don't know, it's Ideas Developer Kit, okay? With some things that, for instance, education of what you are making, awareness after you finish, this type of things have to be there. Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to mention we have a very good thing going on the community hubs. I really like what these teams are doing, some of them especially. And we had already discussions. We funded those community hubs for a certain time, and that time has now expanded. So what do we do next? Do we continue funding them, or will we use the same fund to start up other community hubs? At the same time, we have this idea of developer hubs, and I or say I, but together with Ubio and Riyadh and others, and you, Rafael, we created a proposal for developer hubs, which I like a lot. But it seems that there's also something cooking at SingularityNet, and nobody has been able to tell me what exactly. So I really hope that we can make this community hub portal work for us and make it shine by all the initiatives that will be built on top of that, be it developer hubs, be it community hubs, be it something else. But it depends on what is needed there. If SingularityNet doesn't want community hubs or developer hubs or anything else, and they have very different ideas of how they want to organize it, yeah, then we might not. Then there is little need for that portal going forward, or we'll put it on a pause position until we get into a situation that we can start it up again. So it's a little bit case by case situation. Depending on the output. We have developed a lot of useful tech, our portal, our backend, our review circle portal, and so on. And I think it's a major asset of what we're doing. So we really want to preserve that. But yeah, to what extent it will be utilized, that will depend on the dynamics of the future situation.
All right. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, go.
All right, thank you. Paulo was asking in the comments, but Prasa has answered that. But just for everyone else to learn from the question, he asked, will there be any form of NDA or policy to prevent rejected proposals from being reused or developed by other teams, since this process resembles a commercial proposal submission? It would be useful to understand how this is handled. A similar topic was discussed during the ideation challenges. Will the projects follow the same approach? And Prasa's response was that the terms are in the ideation portal and it will be same for now. So I hope that is also cleared for every other person. Moving on to another form question. What are the main strategic objectives behind the transition from hourly contributions to a project-based model? And then how would these projects then be funded? Fixed budget milestones or progressive funding based on results?
Well, for a project, when a project is approved, we are not going to be tracking and controlling what's happening there, right? So a project was approved with this success criteria. And you requested $10,000 for it. The only thing that matters for us from now on is we are going to pay for that success criteria that you delivered, okay? We are not going to, if you spend 10 hours making that or 100 hours, it's not for us. So it's in the success criteria. But the milestones will be there, including with the review circle, well, the review function in the operations layer, taking that and checking, okay? But you can, for instance, make a proposal with one milestone, which is the end of the project. Hey, I'm going to deliver the solution or what I'm proposing here, and that's all. We are going to check your success criteria and make it. It's on you, the decision. You can even, depending on what you create, you can make it, for instance, I'm going to propose a town hall, a number of town halls, okay? If I bring 10 people to the town hall, it's this price, this budget. If I bring 20, 50, and so on, okay? You can make it scalable, right? and then you're going to receive the amount of money. Just an example here to show some possibilities as well. Then during the review, you check, okay, this town hall itself, it was 10 people, then it's $100. The other one, 50 people, then it's $500, and so on. It's the way you propose.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to merge a couple of questions again.
Can I add something to this, please?
Yes, please.
I would say it's even, sorry, Rafa, but I hope you agree with me. I think it's even wider. You could also make it hourly based, saying we want to do some social media governance, and our proposal is we'll spend 20 hours or 10 hours on that every week for the next 20 weeks. Well, then that's what you're doing, and that's what you're limited by. So it will be technically hourly based, but that is what you agreed with the other side that is approving it. Or you could have a more open-ended proposal and say, we'll work on this and this project. We have a team with these and these capabilities, and every week we spend this amount of hours, and we'll do it in a more agile way. I think that is also a possibility. But the thing is, you will describe it very clearly in your, well, not in your first idea. And in your first idea, you can do it very roughly. But then when it comes to a project proposal, you will describe very clearly what the measure, what the points are. And then operations and Rafa will just check if you are doing what you promised. If there's a week past, and then we'll pay the hours that were spent in that week, or that were agreed to be paid on that week. We'll actually not be tracking the hours. That will be more between your and the stakeholder of that proposal. So there's a lot of freedom there for creativity and for defining what is best for you and what is best for SingularityNet, and what is the most effective and efficient way to do a project for both sides, so that one side has trust that things are being done as they expected, and the other side has sufficient freedom and guidance to do what they set out to do.
Yeah. And with this creativity, you also have to think creatively on how you are going to prove your deliverables, right? For instance, 10 hours per week, on social media. Well, it's up to you in your proposal to say, yeah, I'm going to show you that I work at 10 hours this way. And then it's up to the team to accept this or not, okay? Because we are not thinking for you. That's the point here, and on how the burden shouldn't be on the review circle to track, and oh my gosh, how I'm going to check this and so on. So it's on the proposal. The proposal has to be that clear as well. But yeah, be creative and in the ways that you are going to charge.
All right. So the next I'm just going to merge a couple of them. One, how does this project-based model align with the long-term vision of DEEP and the SingularityNet ecosystem? Is this transition intended to bring DEEP closer to a decentralized funding model such as DEEP funding? How could this evolution strengthen innovation and attract more AI builders in the future? And finally, can we consider this situation as the end of DEEP? Mind you, this particular last question was asked a couple of times. So can we consider this as well the end of DEEP? So those are questions for now.
No, it's not the end of DEEP. I would say it's the beginning, more closely. We're still also working on DEEP as a platform, right? And then SingularityNet would be they would be our main, most loved customer. But we could have other partners on our platforms as well that would also fund things. So it's certainly not in any scenario, it's the end of DEEP. How it will build on the strategy and whether it will create decentralization. So the goal. So first of all, what we're looking at is a scenario, let's say for the next 6 or 12 months or something in that area. And what happens after that is to be determined. It depends on the success of ASI chain, for instance, on what we will see happening with OpenCog Hyperon, how successful we are with that. And we're all very optimistic about that. So yeah, that would also feed into Deep. For this intermediate period, it would make Deep more goal-oriented. Instead of Deep being on the receiving end of all kinds of ideas and projects, etc., that somehow build on our tech, the SingularityNet ASI team will be more directive and steering, saying, in order to increase our chances of success with this technology stack, we would like you to do this, this, and this, so that in this intermediate period, the budget is spent as efficiently and targeted as possible. What that does for decentralization, well, you already heard me saying that some tasks that normally would be done, that SingularityNet might be looking on first as, oh, we should do this internally, might now be outsourced to Deep. So I don't know exactly what will come out of that, but one scenario here that I hope to see happen is that more and more work that SingularityNet would usually do internally could be outsourced to the community. So the community could be more like an operational layer to Deep. So in that sense, they would be more closely together. And in terms of decentralization, I think there's a bigger role for entrepreneurship in the community. You decide what projects you want to do. You decide what projects you want to submit for approval. If you get rewarded for a project, then just like any awarded team, it's totally up to you as long as you deliver on your promise, being the milestones or whatever you agreed upon. You have a lot of freedom in how you want to do things. If you would multiply that situation with multiple partners on our platform, I think it would be a very decentralized future that we're thinking about. So instead of having circles with weekly meetings and that kind of structure, yeah, it will be a different kind of decentralization. And as a last point here, the scenario where SingularityNet is calling the shots and determining what will be approved is also, in our current perception, a temporary thing. What we are aiming for is also to give the community there a say, a larger say. So I can imagine there will be an approval board with some people from the community and some people from SingularityNet, for instance, but or that there will be a different distribution of budget, that the bottom up will grow and the top down will get smaller, for instance. That's all up in the future. That's something I hope we will get more clarity on in, well, let's say 6 or 12 months or something, depending on the context and the market situation and the technological infrastructure, etc. But yeah, that's a strategy. The main strategy is we want to put all our efforts behind and I'm now saying that with my SingularityNet head up, behind our main pillars and our main drivers, and that is Hyperon and ASI chain. So everything will be funneled into making those technologies and the surrounding technologies a success. I need to load my computer, so will be changing place, so I'll be shortly offline, but I'll be back in 2 minutes or so.
Rakosi, you have your hand up?
Yeah, my question would most likely be for Jan, but maybe Raphael can take a jab at it. So Will there be a fast track approval process for projects that come with pre-committed external funding or co-investment from partners? And what I'm thinking here is, let's say a partner comes and wants to put about 50,000 or 500,000 into the ecosystem. Is SNET, are discussions already being had where SNET is going to, perhaps due to that investment, give some type of free credits to the partner to build on their stack? What does integration look like? Are these discussions that are being had, and what are the possibilities there?
Well, paying partners, they are not necessarily attached to Hyperon or ASI chain. Okay, that's one thing. In that affiliate program that we shared before, they can have their own things. So it wouldn't necessarily depend on SNET or have some sort of support from the SNET side. It's a separated thing. However, if we have a partner that is coming, but is related to ASI, for instance, somehow, and I'm having discussions in this direction already with some partners from SNET, then yes, but it's a very connected, well, in between them, right? To your question on the fast track, it goes in the same case that if a partner is putting the money on the escrow for a project, RFP, for instance, to receive proposals, no, it's going to go the way the partner desires. If you brought the partner and you would like to have the priority in being selected for a proposal, totally fine. Again, it's up to the partner. Partners and users of this platform, they can have, I'm not sure if you remember, we have the dedicated team. So you point, yeah, this is the team or person that I want to execute this project. You can have a group of teams that you say, hey, let me receive proposals from these 5 teams here, right? You can put to all as well that are in our community to select the proposals, to propose and then have the selection process. And you have the one that you put to everyone around the world, anyone can propose, right? So the only, as you mentioned, I mean, direct path for a proposal is when you have this first here. It's a dedicated, hey, you are going to execute, but then you already discuss it with the partner, can be SNET or another. Now, this is for proposals to execute an RFP, for instance, right? If you are talking about the projects that we are mentioning now that you want to suggest, the answer is no. There you have to go through the process. Unless you are in that board of approval from SNET, they have, well, if someone there say, hey, I need this, they are going to create the request for proposal, or they are going to select a team to execute and so on, okay? Since they are from the approval board already. But this
Okay,
list, for instance, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm seeing that because something that is really attractive, that would be really attractive for legacy cloud users, for example, would be to have access to ASI Cloud, right? With the decentralized stack and with the reduction in costs that might come with it, right? So in my mind, when I'm thinking of partners bringing in funding into the ecosystem, I know that it's a two-pronged approach, right? It's separate from ASI, but I'm thinking that including the ASI stack is something that will also be extremely attractive to some of the businesses that I have in mind, right? And so, I mean, I understand based on your answer, but it's something that would definitely be attractive.
This issue to sit with them. I guess BizDev would be also a way for, hey, SNet, it will be easier for us to bring new partners here if we have your counterpart here providing cloud and etc. So yes, but it has to be discussed in this case, right? With
Okay.
the owner of the cloud, which is the computing, which is ASI.
Okay.
Jan, if you now that you are back, if you want to.
Yeah, it's interesting. So if you have a co-funding opportunity, this is what we set out for, right? When we were in the old situation, that is how we wanted to open up the platform for other interested parties, and then co-funding would be a very attractive way of doing that. We don't seem to have that purpose in our fund right now to do that. But yeah, I can totally imagine that any proposal created for SingularityNet that would come with a customer for their tech stack, they would love it. And one direction of thinking here would be, so we're working on that referral program for Deep to bring partners onto Deep. Maybe this is a topic we can elaborate a little bit on tomorrow in the town hall if we have time. But I can imagine this could also be an interesting proposition for SingularityNet to expand that. So if you have a customer for cloud, if you have a customer for ASI Create doing some meaningful thing, or a customer that would like to have a shard on ASI chain, for instance, yeah, that would be very interesting. I think if we can find partnerships with organizations that would work together with us on our tech stack, on Hyperon, for instance. I mean, Hyperon is getting more and more mature now, and there are a lot of components that are massively speeding up and providing some real world, starting to provide some real world value. So if there would be an organization that would be interested to co-develop and co-work on that kind of projects and would be interested in experiments in that direction, that would also be a very great possibility, I think.
Okay. I mean, I think it's the simplest and I think it's the biggest moat for the referral program. And are there talks about commercializing ASI? I mean, ASI Create, it will be commercialized, ASI Chain. Are there talks on commercializing them yet? And do we already know what that looks like? I think I already asked this question somewhere before, but it was that the information is not readily available yet.
Yeah, I think there will be ways. I don't know the details of it. Shards, for instance, could we represent some business model. I don't know exactly in what way. There will be tokenization on shards as well, so there will be some business models around that, I suppose. But that is not quite. We're also not quite there yet, right? We are on DevNet. We're working on testnet. Not exactly sure when that will be released, but let's say in the coming weeks or months or something like that. Then it will be some time before it's on production. And it has to go through some stages before we're really into mainnet. So yeah, I think we're looking at the end of the year or beginning of next year or something before ASI chain is really on mainnet. I think that is the time path that has been discussed here and there.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Thank you all. Next question. What do you recommend for non-technical people? Should they try and stay and submit projects or look for opportunities elsewhere, considering SNet is SNet? This question was asked about 3 times as well.
I think you could join the question of whether small contributors or new members will have the same opportunities to assess projects. What do you think?
Yes. So let's merge that. And also for what would be the role of individuals who have been working for a long time at Deep Funding but are unable to get granted for a project?
Oh, okay. I was figuring out the details of that statement, but I would say yes, stay and make yourself useful and self-organize. So if there are a number of you that have a certain capability, you're a team that can create a great website, or you can organize into a team that can do localized marketing work. I think that would be very interesting, not just for SingularityNet, but also for other potential partners that we would like to onboard on our platform. So my dream scenario here would really be that Deep would be a two-sided platform where on the one hand you'll see pockets of community members emerge, having some either as a team or as another way of self-organizing and creating an offer that is attractive and bringing expertise that is attractive and that has some value. And then at the other end, there would be partners that would be attracted by these community collectives, and vice versa, right? If we get more interesting partners online, it would be interesting to a wider community of professionals. And if we have this wider community of professionals, and it doesn't necessarily have to be in development, can be in any area, we would become more attractive to partners. So yeah, that's the game we'll have to play and try to play in the future, and it's something we need to, yeah, we can only do together. And that's where entrepreneurship comes in, right? Also, right? So what we bring to the table as Deep Funding is our operational process. So if you have something to offer, but you would offer that to a partner that is, for instance, in another country that doesn't know you, then Deep can provide that level of security. We can make sure that both of you are comfortable that you will get paid and that the payments go into the right direction, that we have a neutral, unbiased way of reviewing milestone deliveries and so on, and that it's all trackable and traceable. So yeah, maybe that is the game that we can play next to that whole SingularityNet thing, where we, on one hand, develop our own capabilities, and on the other hand, make ourselves attractive to partners that would like to onboard Deep. And
Yeah,
you know,
and
in this situation, it's good that we're branded as Deep and not as ASI grants or something like that. Because it's a very neutral term and nobody will be offended by it. And yeah, it allows us to even grow. I mean, my first bet is 100% on SingularityNet and ASI chain. I believe in the technology. I think they're doing great things, and I think we can work with them in wonderful ways. But at the same time, being Deep and being independent, it also allows us to reach out to companies and partners that don't have that strong affinity with ASI tech. And the win here for SingularityNet is, if we bring those communities on to our platform, we will also bring them in touch with that technology of ASI. And the fastest way for SingularityNet to grow their own community, I think, is to bring other communities on our platforms and bring them in touch with that community, with that technology.
yeah, I would like to address this question as well, in this sense. I believe I know where it's coming from. Until now, Deep would give some level of security, right? In having some funds or rewards per hour here and there, meetings that I go, I receive part, execute this and that, then it would be there. And as Jan mentioned it over and over, we are changing. It's not a change only for project approach. It's also for the entrepreneurial approach, where you are more owner of your success and future. However, we have this network effect that we have to have more partners that are going to propose, pay for work that the community will execute here, right? And if you think we are giving you the tools to create your own path, because imagine that, oh, I proposed that project with idea, no, first, second time, third time, and I'm always rejected. But you don't have to depend on SNET, on us, because you can go after a partner. We are giving you the affiliate program exactly for you to make money, but also to bring partners that you can execute projects for them, right? Through this platform here. So we are giving you the tools for you to build your road into your future and to have the security with even more, well, bigger road, let's put it this way, okay? With more rewards. But yeah, entrepreneurship is a key word here that we have to, more proactiveness and initiative from your side as well. It's in your hands.
And let us know if there's any way we can support you with that, right? We have a community portal. We could use it, and we can be a little bit creative. We're thinking about ways of doing that right now, but I would very much like to hear from you how we can support you in being entrepreneurial and offering to the world what you have to offer as an individual or as a team. Speaking about that, one point of criticism or maybe an urge, complete your profile. I clicked yesterday on 15 people, random, 15 profiles. None of them were completed, and they were all in the circles. I won't mention the circle names. I went to 2 circles, I clicked on every individual in them. And yeah, you were there, but you didn't have any bio, you didn't have any capabilities, skills, and interests, you didn't have anything else. So if you want to be selected, also for SingularityNet, if you put a proposal up, it's one click away for Singularity to look, who is this person? What did they do before? We put a lot of effort in creating this profile system, and we're still working on it to improve it and create layers on top of that, etc. And we will improve it also with reputation. So this is the best advice I can give you today or tomorrow. Go to the website and complete your profile. That's the first step.
Well,
thank you. I'll put on my video because I'm not sure about my reception. Can you guys hear me? All right. Okay, so I have 2 questions. I know that Jan and I think Judith put out a message in the channel about the affiliate program, questions and answers depending on who are interested. I just want to ask if that has been scheduled generally, because I imagine that this period brings a lot of fear, for the want of a better word. For people, change is easily very, very disturbing for humans. So that could offer clarity is always good. I mean, with clarity, opportunities become more visible, and then people become more reassured, and people can find themselves and things like that. I was particularly interested in that, just for example, to understand and see how to help community also, understand. So that's the first question. The second question is, so a lot of the conversations that been going on today sounding more individualistic and team-based right? Nothing so much as circles, right? So this project or these proposals to be put in this on the portal, are they being put there as circles, or are they being put there as individuals, or people form teams and share? I mean, I was just wondering. Yeah.
Would you like Rafa, or should I? I only understood the second question. I don't understand the first question, but I can answer the second. But maybe you want Rafa.
No, you can go.
Oh,
All right. So
yeah,
the way,
anybody.
so whether you're proposing as a circle or a team or an individual, it will be same as the current RFPs and awarded teams. So there will be one person in the lead. That person will receive the funding, and that person will be held responsible and accountable for the work done. How you organize behind that as a team is totally up to you. It can be a team made of individuals that would currently be in multiple circles. It can be a team with people that are completely outside of the circles today. It could also be an individual work. So that's up to you. But as far as we are concerned, there's one contact person, because we don't want to get into the middle of an argument where three people say, no, I did all the work, and somebody else say, no, I did all the work, and we have to decide on that. So that is that we need one person that will take that role of being accountable, and what is behind that and how you organize that work. If you outsource it to a third party, it's all fine as long as you live up to the promises. So that was the answer to the second question. I followed you, but I didn't quite catch I didn't understand what your first question is.
Okay, the first
So he was asking around the affiliate program, when it's going to be scheduled, the training.
Oh, yes, yes.
So it's not scheduled yet, but I would propose that we do it on Wednesday next week, either before the all hands or after the all hands. Unless someone has anything against.
Or during the all hands, I would say, but not make it an all hands, but replace. I mean, this is an extra all hands. We have a town hall tomorrow. I would suggest that maybe next week we can do, instead of the all hands, do an optional training for those who are interested, which is an unpaid meeting, just to make sure that we have the right audience there and people that are self-motivated and really want to start with it. I hope to see you all, because it's important for all of us. But that would be my proposal. But just off the back here, I don't know if I'm stepping on anybody's toes here.
Oh yeah, I was just about to say that there are maybe a couple of reasons why it can't be it can't be at the same time with the all ends, right? Because I mean, we have January, February bi-monthly reports. This is very important considering that this is ending an era or something like that. Yeah, and then it's also not a paid meeting as well. So if you call it all hands, then it can confuse as to.
I forgot about that. Let's continue with our scheduled meetings as planned. So let's keep the all hands as a retrospective. That's a retrospective you're saying at the
yes
11th of
for January and February, yes.
Okay, well, that's fine. Then let's do that next week, Monday, and then we'll somewhere in that week we'll then do a training session for affiliate marketing, and we'll discuss and let you know what the best time is.
Will the all hands continue? Because if it doesn't continue, so we'll have the reports next week, and then the meeting after that will be your last one, right?
Yeah, I guess it will depend on whether projects will be approved, but I guess all hands might not make sense considering there won't be circles. So there could be another event, but different, maybe for projects to come and share what they're doing or to coordinate between themselves, but I guess not much more than that, right?
Well,
Yeah,
question would be how is it planned that the feeling of community is being fostered? Because if we're getting rid of circle meetings and we're getting rid of all hands meetings, then it's basically no feel of community. So there would have to be something, or we would have to decide that we basically want to go to, or we're all doing our own thing online behind our laptops and we don't talk to each other, kind of thing. But I don't think it's an ideal approach for someone who wants to build a community, wants to build a community, and that's their main goal.
Yeah.
totally
Not
agree.
sure
Totally
that's
agree.
going to be.
This indeed is something that it can be is likely as a downside of the approach that we are having. However, remember when I mentioned about that layer, outreach layer, we are going to still have people that will be taking care of this layer and helping and supporting with onboarding, offboarding, and eventually even creating this gathering of members that have similar approach or not, and creating things. The main difference here is that these meetings won't be paid. Okay, everything that we do for creating this, fostering this community sensing of belonging and etc. has to come from inside of the members that are really willing to contribute and see a purpose on that. Okay, but yes, it's envisioned as well in this process to have some support in this sense, people that will organize and orchestrate such things, which comes from the effort comes from the operational layer towards the outreach layer. I mean, these members are in the outreach and the operations layer.
Yeah. Yeah,
If-
but we still probably want to think about what we want to do for our last meeting.
Well, on our side, we'll try to plan and see if we can put some meetings for the community. I think they can be important for collaboration and for these proposals to come out. But we'll see. We'll make it as a proposal, and then it's not up to us to decide if that will happen or not.
Exactly, that's the spirit. Yeah. Also, I liked what Vani mentioned here in the chat. Totally agree, Vani. It's for the community also to embrace, right?
All right.
Yes, I buy into that as well. Think about this picture that I tried to sketch, where Deep is a platform where communities and partners can collaborate and work together, etc. Yeah, then we would be the facilitating party as Deep, and tell me what you need from us to facilitate that. I can imagine there are some ongoing needs from our side to continue to say what is new, what feature we have, what option there is, what new partner is onboarded or whatever. I can imagine there's also a need from all these community circles that they want to show what they are and what they do and what they have to offer, etc. So, but it will be together we can think about what kind of shape and form that would have and how we would like to see that happen.
Right. I guess we can go on with the questions. And Miriam, afterwards, if you want to take it all, it's good because I'll have another call in 3 minutes. But I think we could put two questions together here that I haven't been asked about time. People are asking, how long would it take for a proposal to get feedback? And also, if the project submission will be open-ended or there is a time frame for it to happen. You're muted, Rafael. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Thank you. About the time, I don't have an answer for you at this point. Okay. It as we mentioned, it will also depend on some decision making from SNET. As I said, I'm building. Of course, it's not ideal to have a long period to approve or rejection. But we have to consider a lot of parameters that might influence these. For instance, the complexity of a proposal. right of a project. So how long it should be, if it's a quantum computing project or if it's a, I don't know, a town hall, it takes different time leads here. So we are learning as well this year and making it properly. The second one was
It was about whether the project submission will be open-ended or within a time frame.
Well, I see as both, right? The challenge will potentially be a track for, hey, we have this here. It can have a fixed time frame or it can be open as well. I don't see at this point something we should go for one or the other.
Mariam, please continue. It's all yours now.
All right, I think that we're almost done anyways. So I'm going to imagine a few again. First one is why I say that we're a part of the people shaping this transition when in essence, decisions are still made without us anyway. The second one is what's the amount of funding that an individual or a team can request? Will there be voting involved and will the process be transparent? Is there a cap on the number of projects that will be funded? And then finally, for this part, what about the ongoing initiatives that are being worked on and also the processes that have been built around those?
Jan would like to.
Yeah, there are three very different questions, I think, and I'm trying to keep track of them. But yeah, there's one person disappointed in the decision-making process, I suppose. First of all, I want to say that even if you're not making the decision, that doesn't mean that you don't have influence. So I've always tried myself to really listen and to be influenced by the community. I could also turn this thing back and say, well, if you want to be more involved in decisions, community, then be more active in that process. Because usually when we put out a request or something, if we get a turnout of 20%, it's a lot. In a lot of meetings, most people, even if we ask questions or something, a lot of people don't speak up. So it is a two-sided thing, right? And I can tell you that we honestly, genuinely, very hard try to make this a flat organization that is community steered. But the truth is also, it's hard. A very good example was with selecting the CRISP team. It is a decision that we could have made very quickly internally, but we gave it to the community to decide upon. And well, it took a long time to crystallize, and well, we all know what happened. That doesn't mean that I've given up on that process. I would like to continue that way. I would like to have the community really involved in all kinds of things. That's why I'm also reaching out to you right now and asking you, what do you like as a community? What do you need to become successful on this platform? And tell me. There are also some things that I don't have influence over. All the budget doesn't come from my pocket. It comes from Eightfold Path and in effect by SingularityNet. So they are changing a little bit the game of the rules, and they're saying, well, for the next 6 to 12 months, we need to be efficient and focused. So for that period, we are defining, for most part, what will be approved or not. But I think there's still a lot of room for flexibility and input, the bottom up, but also in other ways. So I also genuinely believe that the values and ethics of SingularityNet and the people working there are very much aligned with this democratic approach, having the people be part of it and having the people decide it. How to do that in practice? Yeah, 5-6 years ago, we all thought that DAOs would be the big thing. but it turned out harder in practice than in reality. I mean, democracy is 2,000 years old or something, but we still haven't figured it out completely how to make it work flawlessly. So a lot of words here. We're genuine about listening to the community, even now in the current situation. We really gave it the best shot to make this community that is completely driven by the community, program given by the community. We didn't, I think looking back, we didn't quite reach that goal. But then again, the story hasn't ended here. And we're still on that trajectory, and we continue to experiment and trying to figure out ways to make the community more engaged. And I think one important aspect here is actually also that project-based thing, because within that project, you're your own boss. And yes, you do need to get an approval, but I don't think that is a weird thing to ask for, right? If somebody, there's no such thing as free money or free lunch. I mean, you have to have a good proposal. But if you have a good proposal, you can do it and execute it in the way you want. And you can determine what you propose for. So I think even with those restrictions, there's still a lot of freedom in our community. And like I just reached out to you and say, self-organize into teams or circles or whatever, and show what you have to offer. And if what you offer have to offer is real and significant and adds value, then we will find an audience for that.
Yeah. Well, it's well spoken, definitely. And one thing here about transparency as well, right? Again, we are going in a different direction of decision making. So don't expect, even though we are going to be willing to, but don't expect that level of transparency of having, for instance, a portal, and then you know exactly who selected or who gave yes or no, and etc. Okay, it's going to be mainly a yes or no with I will. Well, it's in the plan to have a why, a yes or a no, right, from the decision maker. But again, this goes in the opposite direction of the speed that I'm pretty sure you all want to have the result or the approval or reject on your proposals, right? So we have to take this in consideration as well. Yeah, I guess there was another question from
Yes, for the ongoing initiatives and the processes that have been built around those, what's going to happen to them?
You mean this list of tasks that can become projects?
No, like currently for the things we are currently doing, the initiatives that are being worked on that maybe has not gotten to completion stage, and the processes around them, like all the steps we take, the operations around them, what is going to happen to whatever it is that someone is working on that is still a current task right now? Do we just shelve them?
That's why we need that list, right? Perhaps you are working on an initiative that can become you won't be able to finish by the March 27th, and then you will need more time. So this is clearly something that can become a project where you say, hey, here's the finish. I need 2 more weeks, 3 more weeks to finish. And that's the type of things that you can put in that list that I asked. But the short answer is yes, it will stop, because we are not going to have hourly payments after the 27th for the outreach. Okay.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Ayo, please ask.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Jan. Thank you, Raphael. So I just want to ask, are we going to continue to use the Open Project? Because, I mean, Open Project, we worked on the project view at the beginning of this year. We together with the IT, we even presented. Yeah, so I just want to know if this is going to continue. I mean,
Well, yes and no, because remember when I said that we are still having the operations layer with the hourly payments, right? Then we have to have this, still have the open projects there. We are not enforcing project teams to use our tooling, like this one, for instance. Okay, so let's say that you bring an idea, it's okay, let's see the project, and then you create the project, and then it's approved. You can use Trello for managing your project. Again, it's in a closed box, the project for us. We are just interested in the results of what's coming from there and to make the payments for that results. Okay, what you are using for, but the operations layer we will still be using the open projects when it fits.
Yeah.
right.
If I can add to that, you have to use our tools when you have to submit milestones. So if it's a project and there's milestones and it's agreed that we will pay you, then you have to be on our Deep Ops platform, because otherwise we can't make a payment. So we need to have some kind of approved milestone or some proof that the project has been done before we can make the payment. So Deep Ops will become even more important, I would say, than it already was, or equally important. So that part of the tooling that is related to paying out your task and maybe also milestone approvals when relevant, I would say Rafa is still in place, right?
Yeah, I was more answering the question of open project itself, the task management system. But the other tooling, some toolings are, well, they have to have a profile, for instance, and so on, right? But the open project itself, to register your hours, it's non-obligatory for proposers and so on.
Okay, yeah, you said you don't have to use our tooling, you can do whatever you want, but there are some limitations to that.
Yeah, it's our tool, specifically that one. Okay.
The other thing I would argue, I think, but that might need a little bit more definition, detailing. I imagine, Rafa, we can still create a task for any member for a predetermined amount of money, right? So we could ask any of you that we know has some capability and say, hey, would you like to do that? Or we could maybe offer it to a number of you to apply for. But I think in many cases, if we have a small task, we pretty much know who we would like to have to do that, and we'll just give that task one-on-one. I think that can also continue to exist outside of the operations platform. Is that correct?
Yes, it will be possible as well. Oh, we need this here, a small thing, I don't know, $500 or something like this. Don't want to put in numbers, but yeah, and then we can go to our portal. The community portal has a task board where you can see the tasks that are being requested, including there is one not there now.
Yeah. What needs a little bit of work, I think, is that what we can do is using community portal and then publish a task, but that's for the world, right? That's for everybody to make a proposal, and then we need to filter out the best proposal and so on. So that's part of the process. Then if we actually select somebody, we'll use our internal task system so that we can approve it and it can go into the project, I assume. How exactly that is connected and if we can further automate that process is to be determined.
Yeah, DeepOps has also this option. It's well, for those that don't know, it's the new operational system that operations system that we are creating. But yeah, the integration in between the portal and the system for payments using that Kanban can be it's a solution. Yeah.
Also, people were asking in these questions whether there is a maximum amount of funding that an individual or a team can request, and also if there is a cap on the number of projects that will be funded.
For the first question, no, you can request a $10 million project. Yeah, to request anyone can, right? But probably we won't be accepted unless I say, hey, with $10 million, I can bring AGI to life. Then probably we would hear, but I don't think it's the case. One thing that I keep, do we have? How much budget do we have? Imagine that you are putting a commercial proposal for a client. You don't necessarily ask client, how much money do you have, right? You go with what you can deliver and the value of your work. So how much your work for doing this values? Ask that, okay? Don't be driven by how much we can deciding on your budget. Of course, the size of the project that you are willing to have and etc. counts, but in general, you are going to feel if it's important and crucial, probably won't be that problematic. So yeah, think less on how much we can pay and think more on the value of your work. What's the true value of your work? Okay. The other one, sorry. The cap of the number of projects.
Yeah.
It's not going to be something that we are going to say, yeah, you can only have 3 projects. But when this panel of approval is assessing, they will know that, hey, this person here has 3 projects already. It's a very good project, this 4th one, but we don't believe it's going to be possible for the person to deliver, and so on and so forth. It's not a static number, but will be taken in consideration because it can that you're doing that you can make that 10 of those, right? But otherwise, one big project might be enough for a person that consumes all the bandwidth of that person. So it's going to be individual cases that we are going to be assessing there. But it will be considered.
Yeah, I hope at some point we can, as I said before, we can give full transparency on what budgets are available and for what purposes and so on, but we're not there yet. That would give you a little bit of direction. For ideation, for open ideation channels, we learned and then limited the number of reactions to 3 because we saw some people just going for quantity with what looked like generated ideas, and that wasn't bringing a lot of value. It was just bringing a lot of noise and creating a lot of efforts for the receiving part. So yeah, I would suggest, Rafa, consider doing something similar here to make sure that we raise the quality rather than the quantity of the number of proposals, but to be determined.
That was
the proposal itself, yes. The proposal, it will have. We are working with 3 now. Potentially, we will keep this. I was, again, answering about the project itself. If you have 5 projects and you can deliver the 6th one to be approved, it's not a problem, okay? But the proposal, as Jan is mentioning, yes, it will have a cap.
Yeah, that was a
I'd
question.
like
If
to-
there was any way to avoid spam of proposals.
Yeah,
I'd like to respond to Vani's question in the thread. Can proposals be anonymous? It's a very interesting one, but also a can of worms, I think. in the sense that if I want to, I just asked you all to complete your profile because I want to know if I elect somebody, if I were to choose somebody to work on a proposal, I would like to know what experience and expertise and so on they have on that particular domain that they create a proposal for. Now, in the future, when reputation program becomes more matured, I can imagine that we could anonymize that particular information. We say, well, we have one person that has an 8 out of 10 on this skill and a 7 out of 10, and it's reliable information. We can more or less prove that this person has this qualifications. Then we would have an open situation where we could go that way. So this is a little bit in the direction of what in SingularityNet sometimes is called OfferNet. It comes with multiple flavors depending on the person explaining it, but yeah, it would be like an algorithmic matching service between supply and demand. And in another version, it would be something that could be circular, like I give something to you, you give something to Raphael, Raphael gives something to me, and we exchange services rather than money. But that's even further down the line. But I mentioned last week when saying, well, an RFP can be assigned to an individual, to a list of people, to a circle, or to the whole world. That could be seen that this circle and partner circle situation could be seen as an intermediary solution when we have a situation where a reputation system is really good, and we have a matching algorithm that really understands what the partner is needing and can match that with what any individual can provide. Yeah, then there might be less need for disclosing personal information, and we can do that anonymously, I suppose. I still think there is a reason for having partner circles. It's not just capabilities, but it's also knowledge, right? So at some point, Rakosi pointed it out for SingularityNet and Deep actually. To be a good marketeer, you have to have a good understanding of of your customer and know what they do, what their values are, what their brand guidelines are, etc. So that's also what I see as the added value in partner circles, that we can build that a partner with us together, we can facilitate that again, can build that, not just expertise, but also knowledge and intimate knowledge about that organization and what they need and what they value and what their expectations are, basically. So, diverging a little bit from the original question, I'm aware of that.
All right, thank you, Jan. Miriam, are there more questions in that doc? I also have a few more.
Yeah, I have to go in a couple of minutes. I have some meetings scheduled, and I need to switch places again. So I'll go in 2 or 3 minutes. If anybody has an urgent question to me, then shoot now. Shoot me.
All right. So one question I have is, for instance, proposing events, right? Do we propose them as events for Deep, or do we propose them as events for SingularityNet?
No, that's a tough one. I would say first see Deep Funding as a platform, and our job would be to create a community for SingularityNet, and therefore the proposal for an event should also be targeted for SingularityNet. I can imagine at some point we'll also see a need for Deep, and it depends a little bit on where we are in our life cycle. If we get more partners onboarded on our platform, maybe we'll see more need to facilitate that process and have also events for Deep itself. But where we are right now, also considering budgetary constraints that we have, I think your best bet would be to target your events to the community that is attractive to SingularityNet and make your best case based on that.
Okay, so for instance, the platforms to host those events, would they be Deep's platforms or SingularityNet's platforms, even though they're all a funnel towards SingularityNet?
Yeah, so if you can make an event for AI developers, considering your X Spaces, a very good example. So you're targeting a certain community, and that community is, I think, very interesting for SingularityNet. So that is something you should be pitching to SingularityNet.
Okay.
And if anybody here has a very good idea about how we can support our BizDev initiatives and make the platform more attractive to the world outside of SingularityNet and ASI, then I'm happy to listen to you. I don't want to formalize that in a process yet, because I want to make clear that we have a change here, and that the way to go would be to propose to these two buckets from SingularityNet. But we need to figure that out a little bit, and we need to be cautious in where we spend our budget, the budget that we have on our own disposal. We can only spend it once, and we need to make that count. But if you have a very great idea, or you and marketeers or whatever, that you think this will really put Deep funding as a platform, as a program on the map, and will help all of us community members, then message me, DM me, or Rafa, or whatever.
Okay.
Now
Right,
the only area that I see outside of SNet, I mean Hyperon and ASI chain, that we could receive proposals focusing on Deep is what Jan mentioned, and it would go towards the BizDev approach.
Sorry, folks, I have to leave.
Are
I'll
you?
be in the town hall tomorrow. I'm not quite sure what the agenda is for the town hall tomorrow. Things are dynamic at the moment. But yeah, maybe I can present the microsite that Marcelo has been developing for us together with me and Judith, and others. Or maybe Marcelo wants to present it himself, I don't know, or Judith wants, I don't know. But I think that would be a nice agenda topic for tomorrow, probably. Do you agree, Judith?
Yes, I agree. I'm just never available on Thursday evenings, unfortunately, so I cannot present anything.
That's a pity. I would love to put you on the limelight there, but yeah, we'll have to take the honors. There's one question I have in some BizDev channel that I would like to have your and Raphael's opinion on, and Godfred's opinion on as well, and would be helpful to have that answered before tomorrow. I'm being purposely secretive about that here, so more about that tomorrow. All right, thank you all for your understanding. It's interesting times. It's hard times for some, maybe. I hope where, well, how do they say it? One door closes, another one or three other ones will open, and we'll have to be creative and reinventing ourselves. And yeah, it's our responsibility to create a great future for ourselves, I would say. And we're all in that together. Thank you, and hopefully see you tomorrow.
Okay, yeah.
Bye.
Thank you, and maybe tomorrow we could even ask some questions if there's anything left.
Yeah.
Raphael, should we continue or
Well, I can take one more question perhaps, but also by the hour it's good for me to go. But Isaio, or do you have in the form more questions? What's the
Yeah, we have a few more, but not that many, 3 or 4 more questions that remained unanswered. One of them that I've got a few questions on this is about the resource, the community. Let me check the doc. The resources manager, I think. Resources manager about what is exactly the role? How you be selecting them? What is the payment and the work? So there are some questions around
Yeah.
this.
The resource managers are already selected. I already talked to them. I'm going to disclose all together with the others. It's about what I was talking here, I guess, with Judith. It's the person, the team that will make the outreach and circles and community thrive, right? Foster that part, managing the sense of what it's needed. We need more on these skills. We need more skills like this because the projects that are coming needs more and more and more video editing members. So let's onboard more. So go checking some indicators, but also making them get more together and have this feeling of a community more, among other things. We are going to have some supportive tasks as well that will be directed to that to make it happen. But yeah, it's to make the community thrive. Let's put this way: the community manager, sorry, the resource manager.
So they will be doing events and things like that, or just
Potentially, yes. Potentially, yes, in the sense of what I mentioned it before. But this doesn't mean that events can't be proposed as a project as well from the community, okay? It's going to be, let's say, the basics that we'll be covering here, but we still have more opportunities for projects to come and make it better.
all right. So on the question about the selection process, I guess that's already been done, and I guess you will explain that whenever you announce the people. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right, cool. And then another question there is about the reporting process. How intense will it be, and how many hours should we expect to report our project?
No, projects won't be putting hours and reporting. As I mentioned, it's just the budget that we have, and you are going to deliver your deliverables, right? Towards for the milestones. If you spend 10 hours doing that work or 1,000 hours, it's on you, right? It's because you are going to pay you this fixed thing here that we agreed at the beginning as a project. So
Guess
by
it's on the
me, you
person to put it on their proposal, whatever they need, right?
yeah, but yeah, they can. Well, you can put your hours there, but it's not going to be necessarily something that will make us decide or not. It's more on this outcome. What's the outcome that you are bringing now, not how you are doing that to get there. Okay.
Miriam, is there anything else? Did we cover everything, or is there any proposals missing? Questions?
Yeah, it looks as though we've covered everything, but I'll take another look, and if there is one left, we could ask them tomorrow.
All right.
But looks like we've covered everything.
Well, yeah. Hopefully, guys, if you have any questions, also come to the town hall tomorrow. Raise your hand. Send us a message. We'll try to ask it tomorrow or in other sessions that we have to try to clarify it. So yeah, thank you all for being here. Thank you to Rafael and Jan for answering so many questions. And thank you all for taking the time to make those questions in the forum. And if you have any more questions, please do reach out or maybe use the forum more and we'll take a look at it and add it for another session.
Yeah.
And,
guys, thank you very much. Thank you very much for being here and bringing your questions and taking the time to hear us. And yeah,
we'll keep you informed. We'll try to have a session with SingularityNet so you guys also know their goals, objectives, and use that for your proposals. Let's see when we can make that happen. If not in the town hall, we can use the town hall tomorrow maybe for some more questions and for these presentations of the referral website and even the operations. I think Rojo was coming to present it, so we could do that in the next session. Well, thank you all, and see you tomorrow, 6 p.m. UTC. Bye-bye.
Thank
Take care.
you.
Bye.
Bye. I'm going to stop recording now.